Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to my first video of 2026. Today, I want to kick things off by revisiting a topic that affects all of us: the difference between inflation and supply and demand. It's a crucial concept to understand, especially when we see prices for things we love start to skyrocket. So, let's break it down. Inflation is generally understood as a gradual increase in prices over a long period. Think of it like a slow, steady climb. A candy bar that cost $1 a few years ago might cost $1.10 today. That's inflation in a nutshell. But what about supply and demand? This is a totally different beast. Supply and demand determines the market value of something based on how much of it is available versus how many people want it. When demand is high and supply is low, prices can jump dramatically, and it's not because of inflation. Let me give you a perfect example from a world I absolutely love: professional wrestling. I'm a huge fan, and I remember a time when going to a live event was pretty affordable. Let's imagine a stadium that holds 50,000 people. If the average ticket price was, say, $10, the wrestling company would make around $500,000 for that show. That's a simple calculation, just adding a zero. But things have changed drastically. I was scrolling through social media recently and saw a post that just blew my mind. It said the cheapest ticket for a recent major WWE event was over $800. Let me repeat that: over $800 for the cheapest seat. Now, that is not inflation. Inflation doesn't take a $10 item and turn it into an $800 item overnight. This is a crystal clear example of supply and demand at work. The demand to see these larger-than-life superstars in person has exploded, and people are willing to pay a premium to be part of the action. The supply of tickets, especially for big events, is limited. So, the market, that's you, the fans, has set a new, much higher value on that experience. There's another layer to this story. A while back, World Wrestling Entertainment, or WWE, was sold for an incredible $10 billion. As part of the deal, the new owners kept the existing management team and even made the previous owner the head of the board. Why? Because the previous leadership had a clear strategy. They told the new owners they could make back their investment, and then some, just from live events and sponsorships. And they were right. The price hikes for tickets weren't just random, they were a deliberate business strategy to capitalize on the massive demand. It has been reported that the company was able to recoup a significant portion of its costs very quickly, proving that people were willing to pay these new prices. It shows that the increased cost wasn't just a general economic trend, it was a calculated move based on what the market would bear. So, what's the takeaway here for you and me? It's all about understanding value. In the wrestling world, this high demand and willingness to pay top dollar has given the performers, the wrestlers themselves, incredible leverage. They see the massive profits being made, and they know their worth. Some have used this leverage to negotiate better contracts. Others have even decided to leave for competing promotions, knowing their star power will draw a crowd wherever they go. In fact, in 2025, we saw WWE acquire one rival promotion and form a partnership with another, showing just how valuable the talent and the market have become. This brings me to my final and most important point, which applies to every single one of us, no matter what our job is. Know your value as an employee. Just like those wrestlers see the packed arenas and merchandise sales, you need to understand your contribution to your company's success. Are you bringing in clients? Are you creating products that people love? Are you the reason customers keep coming back? When you see your company thriving, don't just assume your paycheck will automatically reflect that. You need to be aware of the value you create. Do your research. Understand your industry. See what others with your skills are earning. This isn't about being greedy, it's about being compensated fairly for the value you provide. The principles of supply and demand don't just apply to tickets and products. They apply to your skills, your talent, and your labor. So as we move forward into 2026, I encourage you to think like a top-tier performer. Recognize the demand for your skills, understand your market value, and don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. Whether it's in a salary negotiation or a career change, Knowing your financial worth is one of the most powerful tools you have. Thanks so much for watching my first video of the year. I hope this gave you some food for thought. If you found this helpful, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe for more content, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next one. Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to my first video of 2026. Today, I want to kick things off by tackling a huge topic: inflation versus supply and demand. So many people get these two mixed up, and understanding the difference is key to your financial literacy. So, what is inflation? Simply put, it's the gradual increase in the price of goods and services over a long period. Think of it as a slow and steady rise. Your dollar just doesn't stretch as far as it used to. On the other hand, supply and demand is all about what the market is willing to pay for something right now, based on how much of it is available and how many people want it. If something is rare and in high demand, the price skyrockets. That's not inflation, that's the market at work. Let's use a real-world example that I'm passionate about: professional wrestling. I'm a huge wrestling fan, and I remember when going to a live event was pretty affordable. Imagine a stadium with 50,000 seats. If the average ticket price was, say, $10, the company would make around $500,000 for that show. A nice profit, right? But things have changed drastically. I recently saw a post that the cheapest tickets for a major WWE event were going for over $800. An $800 ticket. That's a massive jump from $10 or even $50. Now, is that inflation? Absolutely not. An item doesn't just inflate from $10 to $800 overnight. That's a classic case of supply and demand. So, what happened? The demand for these live events has exploded. The company knows fans are willing to pay top dollar for a premium experience, so they charge accordingly. This isn't just happening with wrestling. We see it with concert tickets, limited edition sneakers, you name it. Let's look deeper into the business side of WWE. It was recently sold for a staggering amount of money, and the new owners were confident they could make their investment back quickly, primarily through live events and sponsorships. They saw the incredible demand and knew they could capitalize on it by raising prices. They weren't just adjusting for inflation. They were responding to what the market would bear. They knew the value of their product, and they priced it to match. Within just a couple of years, they reportedly made back their investment and then some. This brings me to the most important takeaway for you. Just like a company knows the value of its product, you need to know your value as an employee. In the wrestling world, we've seen performers who felt they weren't being valued correctly. What did they do? Some chose to leave and join competing promotions where they felt their skills and star power would be better compensated. They understood their market value and took action. This is a powerful lesson for all of us in our own careers. You need to understand your worth in the job market. Are your skills in high demand? Do you bring unique value to your company? If the answer is yes, then you have leverage. Don't just accept a standard, inflation-based raise of 2 or 3% if your market value has increased by 20 or 30%. Do your research. Look at what others with your skills and experience are earning. Be prepared to negotiate for what you're worth, and if your current employer can't meet that, don't be afraid to explore other opportunities. Understanding the difference between a cost of living adjustment and your true market value is the first step toward taking control of your financial future. So, as we go into 2026, I want you to remember this: know your value. Don't let yourself be underpaid just because you are confusing inflation with your own personal supply and demand. You are a valuable asset. Thanks for watching, and I'm excited to bring you more financial insights this year. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Here's to a prosperous 2026. Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to my first video of 2026. Today, I want to kick things off by tackling a topic that affects all of our wallets: inflation versus supply and demand. So often, we see prices go up and just scream inflation. But is that always the case? Let's break it down. Inflation, in simple terms, is when prices for goods and services rise gradually over a long period. Think of it like a slow-moving tide. The cost of a loaf of bread that was $1 20 years ago might be $3 today. It's a general increase across the economy. Now, supply and demand is a completely different beast. It's all about what the market decides a specific item or service is worth right now, based on how much of it is available versus how many people want it. And I've got the perfect example for you, especially if you're a wrestling fan like me. I remember back in the day, going to a wrestling event was pretty affordable. Let's do some simple math. Imagine a stadium with 50,000 seats. If the average ticket price is just $10, the wrestling company makes a cool $500,000 for that one show. It's a classic business model. But things have changed dramatically. I was scrolling through Instagram recently and saw a post that blew my mind. For a major WWE event, the cheapest nosebleed ticket was over $800. $800. Now, that is not inflation. Inflation doesn't take a $10 item and make it cost hundreds of dollars overnight. So, what happened? This is a textbook case of supply and demand, mixed with some brilliant business strategy. A few years back, World Wrestling Entertainment, or WWE, was sold for a staggering $10 billion. The new owners came in, but they kept the existing management in place. Why? Because the previous leadership promised them they could not only make their investment back but also generate huge profits, primarily through live events and sponsorships. They realized the demand for their product was through the roof. Fans from all over the world were desperate to be part of these massive, stadium-filling shows. The supply of tickets, even in a huge stadium, is limited. When you have sky-high demand and a fixed supply, you can charge a premium. And people will pay it. The new owners were able to recoup a significant portion of their investment in just a couple of years by jacking up ticket prices, proving it was a calculated move, not just economic inflation. This same principle applies to you in your career. Think about your job. Are you just another employee, or do you have a unique skill set that's in high demand? You need to know your financial value. Look at the wrestling world again. Some top wrestlers, knowing their worth and the value they bring to a show, decided to leave WWE. They went to competing promotions where they could get better pay, more creative freedom, or a better schedule. They understood their market value. Interestingly, in 2025, WWE responded to this competition by not only buying another wrestling company but also forming a partnership with a third one. They're consolidating talent and cornering the market to control the supply of top-tier wrestlers. So, the next time you see a crazy price tag, whether it's for a concert ticket or a new gadget, ask yourself, is this really inflation, or is it a masterclass in supply and demand? More importantly, apply that same thinking to your own life. Understand your unique value in the job market. Don't just settle for a standard cost of living raise if your skills are in high demand. Know your worth, negotiate like you mean it, and make sure you're getting paid what the market says you deserve. Thanks so much for watching my first video of the year. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Let's make 2026 a year of financial clarity. See you in the next one.